Hey guys, I'm a big gearhead here.
Whoa!
Oh, good. Here's your chance.
Well, the other shoe is about to drop.
No, I don't know.
Hey, Kirk. Hey, I just finished that book, Never Caught, about George Washington.
Oh my God! How great is that book?
Dude, they were pretty despicable human beings, huh?
Well, I mean,
it was a different time.
That book was awesome, by the way.
So this ties into a little bit into that story that was in the New York Times. Steve, I texted you.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere.
Why was the U.S. military? One second. What's your name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Ryan in Maine.
Ryan in Maine. Okay. Do you have jets? Because if you do, cool them for a second. Would you? I'm about to talk to you.
Yeah.
Why is the best?
That humor plays all across the country.
I believe it.
No matter what time zone.
I believe it.
I don't even believe in time zones, but it doesn't even matter. So it's this thing about there's and this will tie into the book because I was thinking about this earlier. The editorial board of the New York Times. I love when they write that. Nobody's ever fucking just put your names on it.
Ooh, editorial board.
Why does the U.S. military? This is today. Why does the U.S. military celebrate white supremacy?
Well, do you have an answer?
Which I don't think they do, but their point is that a lot of these forts, like say Fort Bragg or Fort Benning, are named after people who were part of the South in the Great War.
Yeah, and those horrible hand gestures they hold up all the time.
Yes, so they want that gone. And I keep saying, and people at the beginning, I used to have this fight with Jerry. It'd be like, "You're crazy. Eventually, people are going to see your stories like this. Was it Own the Judge? Was that her name in the book?
Yeah, Own the Judge.
Own the Judge. This is a woman who was a slave, George Washington's slave, and she escaped. And Washington tried to hunt her down forever. Eventually, Washington, D.C. is going to be called...
And it was a pretty bad... And even at the time, it didn't look good. Like, everyone was telling them it was a
It's
bad...
not
PR
Hall Notes, okay? Daryl Hall's doing the solo album here.
Give Ryan some room to breathe.
John, I'll give you a chance to come back and join the band in a moment here. But pretty soon, Washington, D.C. is going to be Tubman, D.C. And not Lincoln, but whatever. Jefferson is going to be Frederick Douglass. Fine. I don't care. But this is going to, I am telling you, this is going to happen at some point in this country. Especially if Trump wins again, they're just going to look for shit to do. Now, I always say, my take on it is it's part of history. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But you have to acknowledge it. If you pretend it's not there, it's fucking crazy.
So I'm with you on high schools and libraries and all that shit. That'll be gone eventually. The only reason I doubt it with like Washington State is just there's no precedent for renaming a state. It would be too confusing and weird, I feel like.
Here's the thing. If it's a super liberal state, get ready. Washington is not really, right?
Washington's really liberal.
Is it?
Well, that's true.
It's the headquarters of like Amazon and Microsoft. It's like crunchy Silicon Valley
The state itself,
types.
though? I can't imagine rural Washington.
The
Eatonville, Washington.
The rural areas are more conservative, but overall, it's a Democrat state.
So at some point, will somebody make that case? I think the answer is definitely yes.
I think there are probably already people making the case.
I mean, people that aren't lunatics. And by the way, I am not advocating for this in any way, shape, or form. George Washington owned slaves. Steve doesn't believe Thomas Jefferson raped slaves. I do. You don't. You said you don't believe that.
Well, we just have different ways of processing evidence. I like to err on the side of caution before condemning someone to be a rapist.
We know where Mike stands. But eventually they're going to say why. I mean, Washington and his wife were despicable to this woman. Yeah. So I mean, the book is great.
No, yeah, libraries and schools and any other streets, those will be gone.
You might be right. You might be right. So
it'll just be tremendously expensive for like if the state of Washington wants to rename, District of Columbia wants to rename, you've got to change basically everything that calls it. Do you think anyone's not going to say, oh, it's still Washington D.C.?
Well,
how quickly are people going to start saying?
I'm not saying it makes sense.
DC?
I think it's crazy. I'm not saying it's practical. Do you think these people are going to start caring about like spending more money? Fucking liberals,
because I think you could make a liberal case that we're going to spend $100 billion renaming Washington D.C. as opposed to maybe using that money to make lives better
they
for
don't even care about
minorities.
Money. It's all bullshit because we're spending it. They're not. These fucking the lawmakers don't care. Well, Ryan, what's your point? Why did you call? Not for this, I'm sure.
All right, last thing. Hey, Kirk, I'm looking for a book recommendation, a history book recommendation. But yeah, his wife was worse than him, really, and
as always,
I'll hang up and listen. But lastly, I was totally kidding about being a gearhead.
What did I tell you? Got my hopes up and everything. He held on the whole time.
That's kind. I'll think of a book for you in a moment here. Are they still loaded up, Steve?
They are still loaded up, Kirk.